अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्ण गुरु पादपद्मे तयोश्चित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुः नमः श्रीयतिराजाय एकानन्दसूर्ये सच्चित्प्रभुरूपाय स्वामी नेतापहारी स्वामी नेतापहारी श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम 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 कौशल्या के प्यारे राम दशरथ राज दुलारे राम मंगल भवन अमंगल हारी उमा सहित जय जपत पुरारी मोर प्रभु तुम गुरु पितु माता जाहो कहाँ तजिपत जल जाता श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम अब प्रभु कृपा करहु यही भक्ति सब तजी भजन करहु दिन राति जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करो गुरु देव की नाई मंगल मूर्ति मारुति नंदन सकल मंगल मूल निकंदन श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम सिया राम में सब जग जानी करहु प्रणाम जोरी जुग पानी उमा कहा में अनुभव अपना सतहरि भजन जगत सब सपना दशरथ राज दुलारे राम हम सबके रखवारे
the pole bearers come forward, please. Come forward. You walk with Daddy, right?
Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya.
Family members, friends, we'll allow you to come to a very short interview. things, if you'd like to come through, you may come through and take a seat for now. We're just going to allow the immediate family to come through and do the viewing, and then we'll open up to the family.
Om page 154, Sri Guru Shravashtam.
Love प्रतिहतयो यस्य प्रेम प्रवाह लोकादीतो व्यहरजो लोककल्याणमार्गम् त्रैलोक्येभ्य प्रतिमहिमा जानकीशोरवन्द्यो भक्ताज्ञानं वृतवरवपो सीतयायो गिराम स्तभिरेत्या प्रलयकलितं वाहवोत्तं महान्तं हेत्वा यातिं प्रकृतिसहजाम् अन्धतां येषाम् गीतं शान्तं मधुरमपि सिंहनादं जगर्ज सोऽयं जात प्रतिहपुरुषो रामकृष्णास्त्विदानम् नरदेव देव जय जय नरदेव 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 शक्ति समुद्रसपोततरङ्गं दर्शितमेव विजृम्भितरङ्गं संशय राक्षसनाशमहास्त्रं यामि गुरुं शरणं भववैद्यं नरदेव देव जय जय नरदेव नरदेव देव जय जय नरदेव अद्वय तत्त्वसमाहितचेतं प्रोज्ज्वल भक्तिपदामृतवेदं कर्म कलेवरम् अद्भुतचेष्टं यामि गुरुं शरणं भववैद्यं नरदेव देव जय जय नरदेव नरदेव देव जय जय नरदेव ॐ श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान्
जगवंदन
गाइए गणपति जगवंदन
शंकर सुवन भवानी नंदन शंकर सुवन भवानी
नंदन
गाइए गणपति जगवंदन
गाइए गणपति जगवंदन
सिद्धि सदन जगवंदन विनायक सिद्धि सदन जगवंदन विनायक कृपा सिंधु सुंदर सब लायक कृपा सिंधु सुंदर सब लायक शंकर सुवन भवानी नंदन शंकर सुवन भवानी नंदन गाइए गणपति जगवंदन गाइए गणपति जगवंदन मोदक प्रिया मुद मंगलदाता मोदक प्रिया मुद मंगलदाता विद्यावारिधि बुद्धि विधाता विद्यावारिधि बुद्धि विधाता शंकर सुवन भवानी नंदन शंकर सुवन भवानी नंदन गाइए गणपति जगवंदन गाइए गणपति जगवंदन मोदक प्रिया मागत तुलसीदास कर जोरी मागत तुलसीदास कर जोरी बसुराम सिया मानस मोरी बसुराम सिया मानस मोरी शंकर सुवन भवानी नंदन शंकर सुवन भवानी नंदन गाइए गणपति जगवंदन गाइए गणपति जगवंदन शंकर सुवन भवानी नंदन शंकर सुवन भवानी नंदन गाइए गणपति जगवंदन गाइए गणपति जगवंदन ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय श्री अम्बे महामाते की जय
Respected elders, friends and family, Om Namo Narayana to each and every one of you. On this most tragic occasion that's occurred in the lives of the Poonmassy family, and one would know that This is the passing of both Mr. Poonmassy and 13 days ago, Mrs. Poonmassy. Firstly, I'm grateful to each and every one of you for taking your time on a weekday. We do appreciate it's a weekday, and that you've come to share the burden and to provide the family with support on this tragic occasion. But like I said at the funeral of my grandmother, I wanted to create the theme of the program, and today's theme I want it to be of love. It has to be of love for today, because that is what my grandfather exuded. At the start of the day, I had informed many family members that I don't think I would have been able to come up and speak, even say a few sentiments about my grandfather. But even on his funeral, he gave me strength. And if each of you have seen him, he just looks so calm, he looks so serene. And if you know my grandfather and spent any time with him, you'll know that even 5 minutes spent with him and you'll feel better. You'll have a better day. You can be having the worst day. Just arrive, he'll embrace you, he'll give you a kiss on the cheek, and automatically you have a better day. And when I saw him this morning, I felt like I was going to fall apart, but I thought about his words before my grandmother's funeral, where he said, "Be my voice. Be my voice and let everyone know why I wasn't there." And as a start to the program, I want to tell everyone here everyone knows here that Big Daddy, as he's affectionately known, loved music. Absolutely loved music. Whether he was playing, whether he was singing, or whether he was listening to music, he absolutely loved it. And I knew for a few years what his favorite song was. And often, whilst he's sitting in the car with me, I would play it for him, and funnily enough, I have a sub in my car, so I would play it quite loudly for him. And his favorite song is the song called Jab Koi Baat, from the movie Jurm. And look, we take it for granted what the meanings of these songs are. And when I said earlier on that the theme of today should be love, I want to read the meaning of Jab Koi Baat as a welcome to today's proceedings. So bear with me. It's not a very long song, but I'm going to read each line and tell you the meaning, and I want you to have him and my grandmother at the back of your minds. Jab koi baat bigar jaye, whenever something goes wrong. Jab koi mushkil bar jaye, whenever there's a problem. Tum dena saath mera, oh hum nawa, stand by my side, my beloved. Na koi hai, na koi tha. There's no one and there was no one. Zindagi mein tumhari siva, in my life, other than you. Ho chandni jab tak raat deta hai har koi saath. Everyone stands by your side till there's a moonlit night. Tum agar andheron mein na chhodna mera haath, but please, you don't leave my hand, even in the darkness. And for me, that is the most fitting favorite song of my grandfather. because he lasted just 13 days without my grandmother. Just 13 days, and interestingly enough, he didn't want to go home from the hospital. And usually when he was in hospital, he would say, please discharge me, please discharge me. Last year he had a minor stroke, and after 2 days, he says, please discharge me. But on this occasion, he said, no, even if it takes another 3 weeks, let them sort me out. And then I knew he didn't want to return home without my grandmother. He did not want to return home, and today was the first day he returned home, and I think he knew without my grandmother there, it would not be the home that he wanted to return to. So I'm going to use my grandfather's words. He loved using the term sisters and brothers, and I know many of you outrank me here for me to call you my sister or my brother, but this is just my grandfather's term. Sisters and brothers, welcome once again. I thank you on behalf of the family. We've received so many words, so many messages, and each message, each thought really provides the family with strength, because we have lost our patriarch in the family, and it will be tough moving forward, and your support will always be appreciated. So with that, sisters and brothers, we will commence the program, and the first item on our program is we have Big Daddy's brother-in-law, Mr. Atmanand Lakan, would like to share a few sentiments on Big Daddy, and he will also read out a message from Baldo Duki of the Riga Temple. Following Mr. Lakan, we will be handing you over to our bhajan group before I introduce the next speaker. Mr. Lakan.
I'm going to use the same salutation as dear brother Jagdish, dear sisters and brothers. Hari Om to one and all of you, and my humblest greetings to you on this day where we meet with such mixed feelings. A lot will be said today, but may I take this opportunity of asking each and every one of you to celebrate the late Mr. Jugdiswar Poonmassy as a legend. What this person has achieved in his lifetime is immeasurable. In fact, I may not be able to do half of what he has done. And I'm still of the belief that his demise was most untimely, in spite of his seniority. Yes, it is a law of life that we will keep guessing as to exactly what played on his mind whilst we lost our dear sister just 2 weeks back, the late Mrs. Prishila Devi Poonmassy. Let us celebrate our dear brother for all the accolades and the achievements that he achieved in this lifetime of his. And true to the word, the way he operated in his daily life was based purely on love. And that love flowed so much amongst friends and families and other associates that I am proud to say that he is leaving behind a legacy. Therefore, I I did say earlier on, I salute him as a legend. There are many titles that our dear brother went by, from a good husband, a loving father, and becoming a school teacher, being a parent, a grandparent. There's many, many titles, and he excelled in each and every one of those. But, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's a long program, and I can't really steal the thunder from you, but the role that this man played in our lives, in my life, in the life of my wife, it is highly applauded. In fact, he was more of a parent figure than a brother-in-law. On your behalf, I would like to wish his soul peace, and may his soul attain moksha eventually. Dear ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, there's also, I've been tasked to read a speech by a friend of our late brother, dear Jugdish, and apart from being a friend, he's also been an associate in the temple, and also he was actually physically the neighbor. And this message is from Mr. Baldur Duki, which goes like this. Tribute to the late Jugdiswar Poonmassy, Thursday, 20th April, 2023. The late Mr. Jugdiswar Poonmassy played a major role in the building of Riga Center with the support of his late wife, who passed away about a week ago, and helped in many ways at the Ramakrishna Center. He ran the satsang group under his supervision for many years until Mr. Arnold Poonmassy, his son, took over. Swamiji of the Ramakrishna Center always helped us and gave us his moral support. And at our opening in 1983, late Jagdish Bhai's passing has created a vacuum in the community, especially in the welfare field. I personally will miss him because when I was building with a few people, building the Riga Center with a few people, he came to my rescue with ideas. As a teacher, he spent many number of years in the teaching profession. And through people like him, we have individuals who are role models in our community. They say it was the good old days. Thank you, Mr. Jagdish, for your contribution you made with your challenges in the profession. Bye-bye, my friend. Many are still here, and others have passed away. You and your wife did not have to die in the circumstances you both did. As Sai Baba says, it is God's will. And I remember, and like one of his quotes saying, have faith and patience. You and your wife will stay in our minds for a long time, the people you were in our community. When we all traveled to the south coast, to Amkumas, with your wife and yourself, we talked about many things, old and new, and it was interesting to know where we came from. Interestingly, your grandfather owned a brown bull, a fierce one, would not allow anyone to pass. Eventually, he gored one of you. It is a long time ago, I can't remember. I remember telling you that we were planning to travel again, but it is not going to happen now that you both are not with us anymore. Thank you, Executive Trustee Baldur Duki. May I just add that the final word is some of the principles with which dear brother Jagdish lived was, if you can't do any good, don't do any harm. And he always used to say that in this world you have people, and as long as you have people, you will have mistakes. He always said, forget the mistakes and love the people. I take your leave. Hari Om Tat Sat.
On page 69. सुखदाता है एक ही नाम, सुमिरन से ही बनते काम। जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम, जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम। सुखदाता नाम, सुमिरन से ही बनते काम। जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम, जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम। राम नाम की अद्भुत माला, जल तल नभ का वो ही रखवाला। राम नाम की अद्भुत माला, जल थल नभ का वो ही रखवाला। जपते जो श्री राम को मन से, वो ही पहनते सुख की माला। जपते जो श्री राम को मन से, वो ही पहनते सुख की माला। सच्चे सुख का एक ही राम, जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम, जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम। सुखदाता है एक ही नाम, सुमिरन से ही बनते काम। जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम, जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम। जीवन नैया पार लगा दे, सबकी बिगड़ी वो ही बना दे। जीवन नैया पार लगा दे, सबकी बिगड़ी वो ही बना दे। चरण शरण में आने वाले, मन चाहे पल वैभव पाते। चरण शरण में आने वाले, मन चाहे पल वैभव पाते। भजले प्राणी एक ही नाम, जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम, जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम। सुखदाता है एक ही नाम, सुमिरन से ही बनते काम। जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम, जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम। श्री भगवान की महिमा न्यारी, हरे गोपाल में हीरा सारी। श्री भगवान की महिमा न्यारी, हरे गोपाल में हीरा सारी। देखो उसके सन्मुख जाकर, गोरा जाए सबके भिखारी। देखो उसके सन्मुख जाकर, गोरा जाए सबके भिखारी। नैन मूंद कर Ram, Jai Raghunandan, Jai Siya Ram, Jai Raghunandan, Jai Siya Ram. Sukh data hai ek hi naam, Samiran se hi bante kaam. Jai Raghunandan, Jai Siya Ram, Jai Raghunandan, Jai Siya Ram, Jai Raghunandan, Jai Siya Ram, Jai Raghunandan, Jai Siya Ram. Om Shri Ram Krishna Bhagavan ki jai, Pavan Sata Hanuman ki jai, Shri Ambe Ambe Maan ki jai.
Sisters and brothers, before I introduce the next speaker, I was just thinking about this right now when I was sitting down, and I said it would be fitting before I introduce the next speaker, but a lot of people ask everyone in the family, why do they call Big Daddy, Big Daddy? And why not Nana, Aja? And I honestly believe it is a story of a man who has true resilience and is a born leader. And let me explain why. So Big Daddy was born in 1937. Born in 1937, and everyone knows the house that him and Big Mommy live in at 206 Bailey Road, Red Hill, Durban. And they moved into that house in 1969. A few years before that, Big Daddy had lost his father. Big Daddy had 6 siblings. And him being the oldest sibling had to take that role of being the father to everyone. So everyone would know him as the Big Daddy in the family. And somehow over generations, it then spread to the grandchildren. I have friends who even refer to Big Daddy as Big Daddy just because that's who he was. He was Big Daddy. And Big Mommy likewise became Big Mommy. When I think about it as a grandchild, Big Daddy was 50 years old, 51 years old when I was born. Yet he lost his father, let me put it in context, when he was in his 30s. And yet he was a grandfather at 51. And the grandchildren of Big Daddy have been so lucky, with Big Mommy as well, to have them both, or have had them both in our lives for close on 30 years, and now being the luckiest, 37 years to have your grandparents. It is truly astounding. And I would often hear stories about Big Daddy when he was a teacher, and he retired in 1992. So I didn't know him as a teacher, I just heard about him as a teacher. He'd often tell me stories about how scared he was when he administered his first caning, and when the person who had asked him to do it, which was his HOD, he acted as if he had done it before, but he was very scared to do that, and that was his first caning. And I mentioned the story because the next speaker happened to teach with our dear Big Daddy, and I won't even go on to say what year that was or the years that he did teach with Big Daddy, but he is Mr. D. Ganesh and he would be addressing us now. Mr. Ganesh. After Mr. Ganesh's talk, I will hand you over to our satsang group.
Om Jai Shri Ram. Members of the bereaved family, friends and relatives, when I received the message yesterday that Mr. Poonmassy had passed on, it was with a sense of disbelief. And I asked myself, how could fate be so relentless? Just 2 weeks ago, we bade farewell to his late wife, Priscilla Poonmassy. But the ways of God are different from the way we are. When I received a transfer from a school in Malagasy in 1962, I reported at the M.L. Sultan Primary School in Avoca Road. And that is where I met Mr. Poonmassy, familiarly known to the staff as Bob. We developed an intense degree of camaraderie that was to last well over 60 years. In the staff room, there was a great degree of collegiality, and we had very happy moments. We played soccer with the kids, and that was really interesting and exciting, volleyball, and we loved our lunch breaks. The lunch break was more for sports than anything else. And Bob also had a sense of subtle humor. And I remember he used to imitate some of our broadcasters and created a lot of fun. But as a teacher, he was a very calm person, very committed to his work, always punctual, not the first to leave. And I think he won the admiration of the staff. He and I and 2 other friends had enrolled for the arts degree, Bachelor of Arts degree. And in the early months we traveled by bus, and then of course he had bought a car. He, my good friend, the late Mr. D. Govindarayan, and Mr. G. Devan, Mr. Munsami as he was known then, we used to travel together, finish lectures at 7:30 p.m. and come home. He used to come, leave us in Duff's Road and then leave Mr. Govindarayan and come home. He was a highly principled person, deeply religious, with well-admired moral principles. I remember one event, certain things happen in life and they stick, especially your distant memory is not forgotten or wiped out. He had come home and we sat and chatted. It was just after 1973. And he told me, I've come here on a mission. I say, whether you've come on a mission or just as a courtesy visit, you're welcome nevertheless. He says, we are raising funds for the Ramakrishna Center. And, we are going to our friends, family, etc. and raising some funds for the completion of the building. I said, you've got my support. And then my wife came up to me and told me, look, don't go before he has something to eat. And I remember she had jackfruit battered and fried that, and we had a cup of tea each and thing, and he told me, hey, this is very good, man. I'd like to taste some more. I said, you're welcome. So I'm saying that because about 4 or 5 months ago we met, and he told me, Mac, you know what? We need to meet and have a cup of tea together. He says, you know, our friends, so many of them have passed on. I told him, you know, we are like fruit on a tree. Once we ripen and the wind blows, we fall. And that is the way life is. I also went to his place campaigning, and he says, look, you've got my support, my family's support, and I know you'll do what you like best. He had a very strong family bond. I know I used to visit him now and then when he was living in a wooden iron building in Matheran Road, and that's where I met his father, a very imposing and stately figure. And then I discovered his mother was a relative of a neighbor down the road. They were always very respectful, and this filtered down to the children. He was a gentleman, well respected throughout his life. But as the bard says, there's a divinity that shapes our ends, rough hew them how we will. The imagery is taken from paring a stick. The shape it takes is not ours to determine. It is the will of God. And in the context of the play Hamlet, it has much more meaning. I remember telling him, well, look, not many of us left, you know. You there, I am there, Mr. Madan Singh, one or two others we may have lost track of. But let's do it. And I said, look, as soon as I'm free, I'll give you a bell and we'll meet at my place or your place or wherever, go to a restaurant and have high tea. Unfortunately, the best laid schemes of mice and men have to gang agley, meaning that no matter how well you plan in life, things can go awry. Bob and I shared a great deal of mutual respect, and I used to compliment him when he used to join the bhajan groups or lead the bhajan groups, and in occasions like this, they rendered a free service. May these bhajans that we are listening to be the lullaby that will sing you to your eternal rest. On behalf of those colleagues who taught with us, who are still alive, I wish to extend our deepest sympathies to Arnold, Avita and the family, and may God give you the succor to bear this event in life. And as time marches on, remember, time is a great healer. And may God bless his soul, and I'm sure he will attain moksha or liberation from this cycle of life and death. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ganesh. I must say, learn more and more about my grandfather every day. I didn't know that he liked to commentate and imitate what he would hear. I would imagine would have been on the radio at that time, if there was televisions. I'm not sure in the 1960s. But it is interesting because I now understand where he gets many of his phrases from when he watches Liverpool play. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. But thank you so much, Mr. Ganesh. I did mention, sisters and brothers, that Big Daddy played the role of grandfather, father, uncle, confidant. I must tell you, in certain cases that I've done, he's been legal counsel because he would give me his advice on things, and the mind that he had would give me the answers that sometimes the Lord didn't give me, and that was the type of person he was. And on that, our next speaker, Big Daddy, was his Mosa, and he is Mr. Avilash Lakan, and he's going to share a few sentiments with us.
Thank you very much, Program Director. A poem for my dearest Mosa. A beautiful man with magnificent hair, your life was a work of art. Your love and kindness knew no measure as you touched the lives of many hearts. A mischievous smile, boyish charm, your youthful spirit never ceased to shine. With a life lived in your own spiritual way, a divine legacy you leave behind. Your wisdom and guidance were always present. These traits I will forever treasure. But the presence you held as the head of the family was a role that's beyond measure. And while I'm heartbroken today that you're no longer here, I'm happy deep in my heart, because now you with Mosi, your spiritual partner, but one never wanted you apart. Rest in peace, dear Mosa, a father to us all, and know that you'll be missed every day. Because of the impact you made, the lives you have touched, in our hearts, you will always stay. Dearest family and friends, today we bid farewell to a great man that has touched the lives of so many people across so many different generations in so many different parts of the world. What do I say about my dear uncle? What can I tell you that you don't already know? There has been so much discussed on the circumstances of how Mr. and Mrs. Poonmassy, my Mosa and Mosi, how they died. But today let's rather focus, let's celebrate instead on how they lived. When I heard the news of Mosa's passing yesterday, of course, yes, I was saddened because I've lost my great uncle. But I felt more of an emptiness. An emptiness because we've lost the head of our family, the last of men of a different generation, a generation that my kids will never experience or know. An emptiness because we have lost our perennial speech maker, ever willing toastmaster, always game joke teller, and even and always game tani partner. Mosa was our voice of reason, as Sarish aptly put. And while he's not here with us today, I see him in his children, I see him in his grandchildren, I see him in all of those that he's interacted with. In fact, he was so wise, his warm presence was felt in every room that he was in. And he was one of the very few men that still kissed me every time he greeted me. That kiss, or as our Charos call it, that bar he gave, that wet bar, was something that I didn't enjoy growing up as a youngster, but I actually looked forward to as I got older. Mr. Jugdiswar Poonmassy, my Mosa, was a man that played many roles in his life. And the role that I have grown accustomed in seeing him was that of a father figure, that of a mentor. In fact, even though he can be regarded as an elder brother to my mother, he was a father figure to her initially because she was just a little baby when my Mosa and Mosi, as we call it, hooked up, but as the oldies call it, when they were courting. He has always been such a guiding light and a helping hand in me and my family's life. I have 40 years of memories but to highlight just a quick few. Mosa spoke at my 16th, my 21st, my sister's 16th party, even at my wedding. And in the 90s, when my dad decided to extend his house, well, our house, Mosa drove every day from Red Hill to Chatsworth to supervise the project and to support where he could. That exemplified the kind of man he was to his family and the community. A man who was committed to those he loved and ever committed to his family. There's an irreplaceable void that has been left in the heart of the Poonmassy, Jugdiswar, Pratap, Tulsi and extended families, given the tragic losses that have happened so quickly that the families have had to endure. Both Mosa and my Mosi were beloved, respected and revered by family, by friends, siblings, children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews. In fact, anyone who Mosa and Mosi interacted with, I guarantee you that their lives were enriched after that interaction. As sweet as my Mosa and Mosi's relationship was, some of my fondest memories of them was whenever they argued and fought. They fought in the funniest, cutest way. They were the epitome of a married couple that couldn't be apart but couldn't be together for too long as well. I always look at my dear wife and say, when I grow old, I want to fight with you in the exact same way. Instead of looking at the events in the last month and feeling heartbroken, angry, or even robbed, I feel blessed to have had intimate, close time with both my Mosa and my Mosi. Having lost my grandparents at a very young age and not having much memory of them, they served as grandparents, they served as big parents to me and my parents, they served as mentors. I am blessed that they taught me the value of spirituality, the value of health and family, not in their words, but in their action. There were very few couples that were beloved, respected and revered like my Mosa and Mosi. In closing, I want to thank both Mosa and Mosi for the part they played in my life, my family's lives, and I'm sure in all our lives. And let the eternal love story continue in a place where they're both at peace. My dearest condolences to the families. I wish you the greatest of strength during this difficult time. Om Namo Shivaya. Thank you very much.
Om, page 164, Sri Sri Sharda Devi Stotram. Om Prakritim Parama Abhayam Varada Nararupa Dharam Janata Pahara Sharana Pranamami Param Jana
Mano, smari
क्या मेरा क्या उसका, ये अपना पराया क्या, सरजोति जला करके भूषण करो जग सारा, भूषण करो जग सारा। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी, कल्याण करो जग का, सदा दिखा करके उद्धार करो दुर्गा, उद्धार करो दुर्गा। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी, संसार तो माया है, कभी धूप कभी छाया है, एक दिन उसे जाना है, जो भी यहाँ आया है। संसार तो माया क्या रंग है जीवन का, क्या रूप है मानव का, तुम ज्ञान बड़ा करके गान करो दुर्गा, गान करो दुर्गा। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी, कल्याण करो जग का, सदा दिखा करके उद्धार करो दुर्गा, उद्धार करो दुर्गा। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी,
Please join me in prayer. Om स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मास्वरूपिणे अवतारा वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रुत्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम भगवान देवदेवश शरणागता वत्सला आसारे घोर संसारे सर्वदुःखमलीमसे नानाविधा शरीरस्था अनन्ता जीवरशया जायन्ते च म्रियन्ते च तेषामन्तो न विद्यते सदा दुःखातुरा एव न सुखी विद्याये क्वचित् येनोपायेन मोक्षशः मुच्यन्ते वदे मे प्रभो। चतुरशीतिलक्षेषु शरीरेषु शरीरिणां नामानुषं विना यत्र तत्त्वज्ञानं तु लभ्यते। अत्र जन्मा सहस्राणां सहस्रैरपि कोटिभिः कदाचिल्लभते जन्तुर्मानुषं पुण्यसंशयात्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम अपवित्रः पवित्रवा सर्वावस्थां स्वपि वा यः स्वेत् पुण्डरीकाक्षं सभायाभिन्तराशक्ति। ओम केशवाय नमः, गोविंदाय नमः, ऋषिकेशाय नमः। ओम आंगमास्यस्तु, ओम नसोर्मे प्राणमस्तु, ओम अक्षणोर्मे चक्षुरस्तु, ओम कर्ण्योर्मे श्रोत्रमस्तु, बाहोर्मे बलमस्तु, ओम भूर्भुवस्सु भोजोऽस्तु, ओम अरिष्ठानि मे अंगानि सर्वाणि सहसन्तु। ओम पवित्रस्तो वैष्णव्यो सवितुर्भवसुकुमचिन्तेन पवित्रेण सूर्यशिराश्रिते भूतसेताम पुने दक्षियम्। ओम चन्दनमिष्टसर्दो सर्वथा। अद्य कश्यपगोत्रस्य प्रेतस्य जगदीश्वर प्रेतस्य प्रेतवानिवृत्य उत्तमलोकप्रारतम् और दैहिकं करिष्ये। कश्यपगोत्रः प्रेतः जगदीश्वर प्रेतः मृत्युस्थान शवनिमित्तो ब्रह्मदेवतो वा एषा ते पिंडो मया दीयते तवो प्रतिष्ठा। अद्यः कश्यपगोत्रः जगदीश्वर प्रेतः द्वारदेशपान्थ निमित्तो विष्णुदेवतो वा एषा ते पिंडो मया दीयते तदोपदिष्टः। कश्यपगोत्र जगदीश्वर प्रेतः चत्वर्के चरणनिमित्त एषा ते पिंडो मया दीयते तदोपदिष्टः। अद्य कश्यपगोत्र जगदीश्वर प्रेतः विशांतभूत नाम रुद्रः देवतो वा एषा ते पिंडो मया दीयते तदोपदिष्टः।
संसार क्या गीत सुनाऊं, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आओ, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे। इन पैरों से चल कर तेरे मंदिर कभी ना आया, जहाँ जहाँ हो पूजा तेरी कभी न शीश झुकाया। हे हरिहर में हार के आया, हे हरिहर में हार के आया, अब क्या हार चढ़ाऊं, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आओ, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे। चंद्रामणि खुदी राम ने पाया, तीन जगत का त्राता। चंद्रामणि खुदी राम ने पाया, तीन जगत का त्राता। धन्य हुई भारत की धरती, धन्य हुए माता पिता, धन्य हुई भारत की धरती, धन्य हुए माता पिता, धन्य हुई भारत की धरती, धन्य हुए माता पिता। चंद्रामणि खुदी राम ने पाया, तीन जगत का त्राता। धन्य हुई भारत की धरती, धन्य हुए माता पिता, धन्य हुई भारत की धरती, धन्य हुए माता पिता, धन्य हुई भारत की धरती, धन्य हुए माता पिता। सपने में खुदी राम ने देखा, जो दिल में मुख करना माता, राम कृष्ण रूप लेकर आए, वो सबके भाग विधाता, सबके भाग विधाता, सबके भाग विधाता। धन्य हुई भारत की धरती, हित कर नवयुग धर्म प्रधाता नवयुग धर्म प्रधाता नवयुग धर्म प्रधाता धन्य हुई भारत की धरती धन्य हुए माता पिता धन्य हुई भारत की धरती धन्य हुए माता पिता धन्य हुई भारत की धरती धन्य हुए माता पिता सज्जन दुर्जन अनुग्रह कारण माया की शिखा नरूप धारण सज्जन दुर्जन अनुग्रह कारण माया की शिखा हर रूप धारण विचिर हुए मानव से तेरा जन्म जन्म का नाता जन्म जन्म का जन्म जन्म का नाता धन्य हुई भारत की धरती धन्य हुए माता पिता धन्य हुई भारत की धरती धन्य हुए माता पिता धन्य हुई भारत की धरती धन्य हुए माता पिता चंद्रामणि खुदी राम ने पाया तीन जगत का त्राता धन्य हुई भारत की धरती धन्य हुए माता पिता धन्य हुई भारत की धरती धन्य हुए माता पिता धन्य हुए भारत की धरती धन्य हुए माता पिता धन्य हुई भारत की धरती धन्य हुए माता पिता
Thank you for those beautiful renditions, Brother Kiran Ishwarlal. I know my grandfather would have loved it. And I can picture him playing the cymbal, which he became accustomed to play at satsangs. And I think he would have really enjoyed playing for you there. Sisters and brothers, I did mention earlier that my grandfather had 6 siblings. And I didn't mention this, but he was the oldest of the 6 siblings. So he was the 7th. And of all the siblings, he unfortunately lived longer than each of his youngest or younger siblings. And he would often speak to me about that. I know that he spoke at each of their respective funerals, and he still did it with so much of poise, dignity, and in the manner that only he could. And I just feel it fitting that I mention each of his siblings. Big Daddy was obviously the oldest of his siblings. Then we had Madan Lal, who was affectionately known as Sunny. Then we had Vidya, Maya, Anirudh, who was affectionately known as Ravi, Malti, and Shushila. And interestingly enough, our next speaker is part of Big Daddy's family as well as Big Mommy's family. And she is Avashna Tulsi, who happened to be Auntie Malti's daughter, as well as Big Mommy's eldest brother's daughter. So she is a special speaker that I'd like to call upon next. After Avashna addresses us, we will have 2 more bhajans.
Namaste, Om Shanti, and my warmest hellos to each and every one of you. I want to also say thank you, Shirish, for sharing those sentiments that was weighing deeply on the family and myself, and to all the speakers that have already rendered such beautiful tributes to our befitting Big Mama. It remains an absolute honor to my family and myself to share a few thoughts about our Big Mama. We plan to visit Big Mama next weekend. The Tulsi children, formerly from Reservoir Hills, were absolutely devastated when we heard yesterday the sad news. And we are so heart-sore that we didn't get the opportunity to see him, meet him, and say our goodbyes. We share a very special and unique relationship with both Big Mama and Big Mommy, as my cousin pointed out. But as children, we took this for granted and only now fully appreciate what it is. How privileged we were growing up in a family where our Big Mama hailed from our maternal grandparents, the Poonmassys and the Fulton. He was the firstborn. He was the eldest brother to my mother, Malti Fulton. And Big Mama, from a very young age, took on the role of the family patriarch on my mommy's side for almost 2/3 of his 86-year life journey. Our fortune then, as the Tulsi children, multiplied because Big Mama married our Big Mommy, who hailed from my paternal grandparents, the Tulsi family. Our mommy, that we bid farewell to 2 weeks ago, was my dad, Ratilal Tulsi's youngest sister. But she was the eldest sister to 2 sisters and my kaka. Because Big Mama and Big Mommy had this incredible marriage for almost 60 years, this is a testament to surpassing tests that marriage life throws at you. The Tulsi family from Reservoir Hills gained because we received automatic double blessing on the relationship where we did not know the concept of in-laws in the family. No matter which side we looked at, on Mommy's side, we related to Mommy's big brother or Big Bai, and on Daddy's side to Big Pua, and we always felt like we were surrounded by family and true blood ties for all time. Whenever we were in Big Mama's presence, he was always and forever a true gentleman. He was smartly dressed, even if we just popped in quickly at 206 Bailey Road to say a quick hello before catching our flight. Mama, we sincerely revere that great heart of service that you rendered to the immediate, extended, as well as greater community. And in doing so, imparting dignity, grace, and kindness to hundreds of people you touched deeply. We will always remember your divine compassion and humility in the times of our deepest losses, the death of my dad and the death of my mom. We have fond memories of your gentle, yet subtle leadership, your contagious smile, and your infectious laughter at other times. We saw you put yourself into all you did, and you continue to live out a fulfilled life, making it seem so very effortless. You have left us with many great positive influences and inspirations, and for that, we will remain sincerely grateful. We are blessed because we can see in your children and your grandchildren the traits of you and of Big Mommy. And we feel especially blessed for the bond we share with Arnold, because this will ensure that we will continually experience that gentle nature of yours and support in times of sorrow, because Arnold closely follows in your great footsteps. Rest assured, Mama, your profound pious life, your deep spiritual practices over a long period of time has ensured that your soul will now make the most beautiful journey onwards, laden with even greater happiness, love, and peace. To all the close family, to the friends, and especially to the grandchildren, and our dear cousin Dawn and Anna, while the grief of losing Sanjeev, Big Mommy, and now dearest Big Mama weighs very heavily upon you, we ask that you trust in their precious memories and in God's infinite light and love to support you and move you onto brighter days. And in apt and comforting words of Thomas Campbell, always know that to live in the hearts they leave behind is not to die. Namaste, Om Shanti, and may God's divine light touch each one of you.
तेरा दर्द न जाने को, तेरा दर्द न जाने को, पिंजरे के पंछी ने तेरा दर्द न जाने को, तेरा दर्द न जाने को, पिंजरे के पंछी रे भीतर भीतर रोए है, भीतर भीतर रोए तेरा दर्द जाने को, तेरा दर्द जाने को। पिंजरे के पंछी रे कह न सके तू अपनी कहानी, तेरी भी पंछी क्या जिंदगानी। हाजी हो कह न सके तू अपनी कहानी, तेरी भी पंछी क्या जिंदगानी। विधि ने तेरी कथा लिखी, विधि ने तेरी कथा लिखी, आंसू ने कलम डूबोए तेरा दर्द न जाने को, तेरा दर्द न जाने को। पिंजरे के पंछी रे चुपके रोने वाले रखना छिपा के दिल के छाले। आज हो चुपके रोने वाले रखना छिपा के दिल के छाले। ये पत्थर का देश है पगले, ये पत्थर का देश है पगले, कोई न तेरा हो, तेरा दर्द जाने को, तेरा दर्द जाने को। पिंजरे के पंछी ओ तेरा जाने को, तेरा दर्द जाने को, ओ तेरा दर्द जाने को, तेरा दर्द जाने को। पिंजरे के पंछी शारदे मां हे शारदे मां अज्ञानता से मेरा दे मां हे शारदे मां हे शारदे मां अज्ञानता से मेरा दे मां तू स्वर्ग की देवी संगीत
Sisters and brothers, I did mention that Big Daddy had 6 siblings, and one of his siblings was our dear Anirudh, who I would refer to as Kaka, even though he was not my Kaka, he was my grand Kaka, and he was affectionately known as Rabi, and his daughter Ishana, who couldn't be with us today because she is currently a resident in the United Kingdom, has given us a few sentiments and words that she wanted us to read in honor of Big Daddy, and she used to call Big Daddy Daddy, and I now call her daughter Sonu to read this message from her mother.
Namaste, one and all. Thank you so much. Today I will be reading a eulogy in the form of a poem written by my mother, Ishana Poonmassy. How do we honor you, Big Daddy? How do we honor you, Big Daddy, as there is as much to say about you as vast is the universe? Starting from our infant years right up until your last breath, you passed on knowledge along with strong sense of values and most of all love to all of us. And for this, we honor you with respect for all. How do we honor you, Big Daddy? You have led by example, showing us a life full of worship, servitude, and immense appreciation for everything in life. And for this, we honor you by showing you the utmost gratitude. How do we honor you, Big Daddy? For your lessons went far and wide, touching the lives of many. And with you, we always keep in the highest form of ethics and virtue, a true teacher and master. For this, we honor you with integrity. How do we honor you, Big Daddy? For you have shown us the strength and power of paternal love, sibling support, and family, giving us a sense of always belonging. For this, we honor you with family first. How do we honor you, Big Daddy? For you are the pioneer of a strong community, being creative in ways about bringing people together with impact that matters. And for this, we honor you with continuous devotion and support to our community. How do we honor you, Big Daddy, for your positivity and zest for life was contagious, and for this, we will honor you by surging on and carrying the Poonmassy light and energy with pride. And last but not least, how do we honor you, Big Daddy? For when we think of the Holy Trinity, Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Shata Devi, and Swami Vivekananda, it is only natural that you come to mind. For you have imparted everything they embody in us. And for this we will continue to serve as such was taught to us. To our beloved Big Daddy, the last of the Poonmassy full-chant family, you will forever be etched in our hearts and souls. Know that we love you dearly and eternally. You have impacted our lives in the deepest form. May you achieve moksha in its highest aspect. Om Shanti.
Thank you for that song. I will extend from what was said about Big Daddy being at the Ramakrishna Center of South Africa and holding the Holy Trio as his ideals. Everyone who knows my grandfather knows that he lived for the Ramakrishna Center of South Africa. He devoted a large part of his life to the ashram. He, I think, held every executive position that there could have been, from chairman to secretary to treasurer. And if you know Big Daddy at all, you know on a Saturday he was getting ready for satsang. And if you attended satsang, you know that he was going to be there greeting you with the biggest welcoming smile on his face, and he was known for that. Avinash did mention that he was known for his hair, and over these last 2 weeks when he's been in hospital, many visitors have come to see him, and devotees of the Ramakrishna Center of South Africa say, we know Mr. Poonmassy's curl wherever we go. It was curled at the top of his head in a way that actually didn't take him a long time to do, I must say. It was very quick in the morning. And he's renowned for that curl and its welcoming smile, as any devotee would enter the shrine. And I picture him when I would go for service and see that smile, and you'd feel, even if you've never been for satsang, here's someone who is welcoming you, and you feel like entering the shrine, and you just have that smile about him where, as I said earlier, even if you were having the worst day, somehow it puts you in a better mood. It puts you in a better mood. And with that, sisters and brothers, our next speaker is from the Ramakrishna Center of South Africa. Uncle Vijayanand will address us for a short while. And before Uncle Vijayanand comes to the podium, I just want to say, Uncle Vijayanand, he really loved you. I must tell you that before you come up, and even when he was in hospital, I saw traits of him in you, and he really did love you. So, Uncle Vijayanand, I now ask you to come to the podium.
Know how hard those last few comments from the MC has been for me, then you know the difficult position I am in. I did tell Brother Arnold about this, and nevertheless, it is an honor and a privilege to be standing here today to pay tribute to a dear, dear friend. Sisters and brothers, Om Namo Narayanaya, to one and all of you. I convey to you the greetings of our President, Revered Swami Swaruparanandaji Maharaj. The following is a message from Revered Maharaj to the Poonmassy family. It is with extreme sadness that we learned of the passing away of Mr. Jugdiswar Poonmassy. With his demise, the center has lost an ardent devotee, a dear and loving friend, a benefactor in many ways, and above all, a fine human being. Mr. Poonmassy had been associated with the Ramakrishna Center of South Africa for nearly 5 decades. In all these years, he had shown his utmost love for and dedication to the holy trio, Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Sharda Devi, and Swami Vivekananda, and also for our organization. He had also shown tremendous love and respect for all the Swamis associated with the center, particularly Swami Shivapadanandaji Maharaj, whose confidence and love he thoroughly earned. One thing that remained constant over the many years was his calm demeanor, loving smile, and his gentleness when dealing with people. He had been a clear thinker, given to meticulous work and careful execution of ashram duties and events. The kind of work we do at the Ramakrishna Center, especially in the context of our humanitarian work, requires that we work in a spirit of selfless service. Mr. Poonmassy exemplified the epitome of this characteristic. As a teacher, he brought to the ashram his experience as an administrator and displayed great joy in handling any duty that was given to him, work which he always treated as a sadhana. Besides being chairman of the Red Hill branch for many years, Mr. Poonmassy served the center in the capacity as chairman, secretary, and treasurer. His wise counsel at the center's executive committee, board, and annual general meetings will always be appreciated. Our Red Hill branch was synonymous with Mr. Poonmassy. It was largely through his efforts that the Red Hill branch developed a strong affiliation with the center and excelled in whatever undertaking they were tasked with, hosting in the process many outstanding functions. He enjoyed tremendous interpersonal relationship within the organization and its branches. No sacrifice had been too great for him when it came to the center. He always stood by the center through thick and thin. He always put the interest of the center before his own. During the early days, he often sat till late hours at the center, attending to work that he considered too important to postpone to a later date. In all his work at the center, Mr. Poonmassy never appeared ruffled. He was always full of humor. Oftentimes he was laugh a minute. There never was a dull moment with Mr. Poonmassy and some of the devotees who worked closely with him. He had the knack of seeing humor even in adverse situations. In many ways, this is what kept the center going through some of its difficult years. On many occasions, he was part of the delegation of the center, be it at the function of our sister organization or at interdenominational functions, appearing immaculately dressed in his suit and tie. Of course, over many years, Mr. Poonmassy was a leader at our center, where he brought out his scriptural reading to life, with his all too familiar anecdotes and twists in the tale at the end of his reading. Devotees actually look forward to this. Many of the long-standing devotees at the center have had the honor and privilege of working with Mr. Poonmassy. He knew what hard times at the ashram were, what laughter was, what commitment to our master's work was, what compassion was, and so on. He had the privilege of learning all this at the feet of his revered Guru, the great saint and second president of the center, Revered Swami Shivapadanandaji Maharaj. In these difficult times, when the Poonmassy family were faced with the heartbreaking loss of the dear mother, the late Poonmassy, and now the passing away of our beloved Mr. Poonmassy within 2 weeks, our thoughts and prayers are with the Poonmassy family. The devotees of the Ramakrishna Center join me in extending our sincerest condolences to the Poonmassy family. May the grace of Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Sharda Devi, and Swami Vivekananda be upon us all. signed Swami's Paramparam. Sisters and brothers, I just want to say I had the good fortune to walk the journey of the center for nearly 50 years alongside Mr. Poonmassy. What a journey it has been. On behalf of my family, I extend our sincerest condolences to the Poonmassy family. May Sri Ramakrishna bless the departed soul.
Thank you, Uncle Vijayanath. I really enjoyed the words where you said nothing ruffled him, nothing fazed him, even in the most urgent of situations. He always had this calmness on how to deal with challenging situations, and what you said about him, especially at the ashram, it makes me think about his personal life and how he had dealt with things. Sisters and brothers, I'd like to read a very short message from Saran, who happens to be, in my view, Big Daddy's granddaughter, but she happens to be Pranam's wife as well. And she couldn't join Pranam, but she has sent me a small message to read out, and I think it's important because her interactions with Big Daddy would have been from around 2012, so fairly recent, but this is a short message from Saran. When Pranam first mentioned his Big Daddy, I was so confused, as I didn't know Big Daddy meant his grandfather. But after I met you, I knew why the name was right. You were a father to us all. Being in your presence felt warm and safe. You were one of the wisest and kindest souls I ever met. You were the first grandfather I ever knew, and from the bottom of my heart, I want to say to both you and Big Mommy, thank you, I love you, I will miss you more than you will ever know. Sisters and brothers, the next two items on our program is a talk by Mr. A. Ramdani, followed by a recorded message that will be played from Pravrajika Ishtaprana Mataji from the Sri Sharda Devi Ashram. And now call upon Mr. A. Ramdani.
Poonmassy family, respected elders, dear sisters and brothers, Om Namo Narayanaya. It is with a deep sense of shock and sadness that we learned of the tragic passing away of Mr. Jugdiswar Poonmassy, whom we all know as a long-standing devotee and a loyal servant of our Master, and whom we have been blessed to cross paths with in this journey of life at the Ramakrishna Center of South Africa. We pay special tribute to him today for not only who he was, but he was also an iconic symbol of the Ramakrishna Center of South Africa, but also the wisdom of his life's message. Almost 86 years of life experience, a long time indeed. Born just before and lived through the Second World War, watched the country wrestle with its soul for the duration of apartheid, and saw its deliverance into the free world, and witnessed the political morass that our country finds itself in. Living through it all, and coming out rather unscathed is testament to his balanced nature of equanimity. Mr. Poonmassy was a role model demonstrating a state of being that we must all strive to attain. It was only some weeks ago I chatted with Mr. Poonmassy at the ashram. He had attended a symposium at the Phoenix Center and read the notes that he had made, which showed the admiration that he had for Swami Shanta Prabhupada Maharaj. It was really a joy to listen to him read it and also the palpable joy that it brought to him. We reminisced about the days when he was given the opportunity to read from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Mr. Poonmassy always gave a brief summary of the reading. He then lovingly invited all to turn to page 15 of the prayer book, read and then said, "Now let us take up the reading." It was really refreshing to hear him read, and whenever I told him that the devotees enjoyed listening to him read, his response was, "The audience is at your mercy. You owe it to them to prepare thoroughly. Do not take them for granted." Such wise counsel for all who have been given the opportunity to address an audience, especially in the temple. It was in September of last year, in a conversation with devotees about the various personalities that left a lasting impression at the ashrama. One devotee told Mr. Anesh Poonmassy that his dad, late Mr. Jugdiswar Poonmassy, is a legend at our ashrama. Very few devotees will have the honor and distinction of being described as a legend. He definitely had a presence without trying hard and without saying too much. Being a pure soul, it came naturally to him. He was always genuine and happy to see you, inquire about the family, and offered sincere encouragement and praise. He will always be remembered for his loving nature, kind demeanor, and dignified deportment. The tribute messages posted on the SA Devotees group is testament to this, as one message read, "His presence was iconic in the Durban ashrama. Such pure, wholesome energy. He will be sorely missed." Mr. Poonmassy did not claim victory for his achievements, but always offered it to the feet of his Savior, the Holy Trio. Can there be any better way to live other than humility, love, and grace? I implore you to consider his life. Consider the message it brings to your life. Ask yourself, what have you done for the people in your life? And do they feel the love, presence, and joy? Stop asking what you can get from those around you. Instead ask, what can I give? It is rather easy to give love and affection to the young and vitalized. But when will you stop to consider the people that you receive from your entire life? When will we give back, and will it be enough? So I urge you, if not today, then sometime soon, to be kind to the seniors in your family. Revere them for the divinity that they are. Make them feel loved, because when the day comes to leave this earthly sojourn, have no regrets. Let our hearts be full of love, our minds full of happy memories, and the growth that their presence in our lives allowed us to smile at them, wishing them well on this new journey that they begin to undertake. Let us live a life of integrity. Let what you say be what you mean, and find true meaning of the sacred contract that brought Mr. Poonmassy into our lives, and celebrate the growth his interactions catalyzed, however big or small, phenomenal or insignificant, as you perceive them to be. Let us live in the present, love our children and fellow man, and praise God for all that is, that all that will be, and all that will do it. Seeing you here today would make Mr. Jack Poonmassy, as he was also fondly known, for his heart to brim with joy, and he would want to wish us all well in our chosen path, wishing us every happiness, peace, success, and joy. To the Poonmassy children and grandchildren, how does one begin to say goodbye to someone you have known your entire life? Someone who loved you even before you began to love yourself. Someone who is almost impossible to imagine life without, because their life experiences have become much intertwined with yours, and saying goodbye to them would really mean saying goodbye to part of yourself. Take solace in the fact that their hearts beat in you, and their being is still in you. God's ways are mysterious. May Sri Ramakrishna and Mother Sharda Devi give the family strength to bear this irreparable loss and to move forward in life. Our prayers are that Sri Ramakrishna and Mother Sri Sharda Devi continue to bless the soul of Mr. Jugdiswar Poonmassy and guide his future journey. I conclude by extending my deepest condolences to the Poonmassy family and pray to Master Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sri Sharda Devi, and Swami Vivekananda to give you the courage and strength to cope with this with these huge losses you experienced over the last few weeks. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. This message was prepared by Ms. K. Krishna and myself. Thank you so much.
Om Aim Sarvadeva Devi Swarupaya Shri Ramakrishnaya Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaya to our very dear Poonmassy family, dear sisters and brothers. On behalf of the officials and members of the Sri Sharda Devi Ashram, I convey our deepest condolences to the Poonmassy family on the sad passing away of Mr. Poonmassy, who was a very dedicated devotee of our Master, Paramahamsa Sri Ramakrishna. Mr. Poonmassy served as an official of the Ramakrishna Center for many years and had the good fortune of being initiated by revered Swami Shivapada Nanji Maharaj, the second president of the Ramakrishna Center. It is very rare to find a gentleman like Mr. Poonmassy. He was very humble, devoted, selfless, and always helpful. We pray to Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Sharda Devi, and Swami Vivekananda to shower their infinite grace on the Poonmassy family and give them the strength and courage to cope with this sad loss, especially since Mrs. Poonmassy also passed away just 12 days ago. It is only by chanting God's holy name that we feel strong and are comforted. Through the infinite blessings and grace of our Master Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sri Sharda Devi, and Swami Vivekananda, may Mr. Poonmassy's soul be at peace and may he find eternal union with our Master. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Sisters and brothers, we all know Big Daddy and Big Mommy's children, Anesh, Avita, the late Sanjeev, and he had 5 grandchildren. Pranam, myself, Triven, Aditi, and Shruti. The next 2 speakers are going to be Triven and Pranam, but before they come up, I just want to share a few thoughts on Big Daddy and his grandchildren in general. And that is, there was a love for us that I cannot put into words. Big Mommy and Big Daddy, they didn't have an apple of their eye, they had 5 apples. And those were the grandchildren. Somehow, each of us individually, Pranam, Aditi, Triven, Shruti, myself, we have a particular story, unique stories that are particular to us. And before I call Triven and then Pranam, even though the story is not particular to me, what I said to Big Daddy in hospital, and I think it may bring a smile to many people's faces, is that he was an excellent tani player. And I loved playing against Big Daddy. Because if you play the game tani, you know there's one particular hand that can change the game from a win to a loss, from a 1 into a 2, from a 1 into a 3. And why I liked playing against Big Daddy was that he had a way of cutting the cards, and it would make this whooping noise. And he would cut the cards in a way that it would generally be a beat of a song that he was singing. And it would come from nowhere. So you're thinking you're going to win this game. And then suddenly Big Daddy would come up and from nowhere smash those cards, and that noise, I still to this day cannot make that noise, and you feel it in your heart. You feel that loss. And when he was in hospital and his left hand was recovering quite well, for those of you who visited him in hospital, his left hand was recovering quite well, and I told him, I said, I just can't wait to hear that sound of a loss, but it's coming from a loss from your hands. And I may not hear that sound again, but I still hear it. Well, every time I'll play Tani Vidyani, I'll think about, it was an honor losing to you. It was just an honor. just for that noise. With that, sisters and brothers, I call Triven to the podium and thereafter Pranam.
Dear friends and family, I've never given a speech in my life, and Aditi has thrown me onto this, but my grandfather was such a punctual person and well-spoken person. I hope I can do some justice in bidding his farewell today. My grandfather, Big Daddy, that I used to call Big Joe, resonated love and bliss through every vein in his body. He was the most complete man that I have ever met in my life. He shared his love with his grandchildren equally and has played his part in raising us up the right way. Big Daddy was the most punctual and tiniest person, if all of you knew him, in everything that he's done. His sincere love and his duty was mostly to his wife in the later stages. Being so fortunate to be with her so soon proves that the level of his love is merely prayer and worship. My grandfather's personality was majestic. It was royal. And it was regal. Living 31 years in my life with him, along with my parents, Aditi, I would be proud and blessed to say that we have had a chance to live with God. Big Daddy had delivered many speeches at many functions. Unfortunately, funerals were one of them. And he always mentioned this, which I would like to say at your farewell, Big Daddy. A long life is good enough, but a good life is long enough. Jai Ramakrishna, Jai Ma, Jai Swamiji, Jai Bajrang Bali.
It's a little bit easier to just send the words to Suresh to say, stand up here, but I'll try to get through it. Dear friends and family, unfortunately we're all here once again, but this time to say goodbye to Big Daddy. It's kind of strange to say that the passing of an 85-year-old is a shock, but you know, it was always going to take extraordinary circumstances to stop an extraordinary man. He was a man of poise, grace, dignity, and culture. He might be the only person who's dressed in his regular clothes at his own funeral. But that's an indication of who he was. What we wear on special days was every day to be dead. Because, you know, every day was special, and he made every day special. He made you feel welcome, like you were coming home whenever he saw you. And you know, he was a very patient and understanding man. He, unlike me, never reacted emotionally or angrily to a situation. He took the time to think things through and to make the best decisions possible. And that calmness he brought to all situations. He brought elegance and dependability to everything he did. When he wrote something down, his penmanship was impeccable. When he made something, it was planned, precise, and perfect. And as Tribune said, if he said, I'll be there at 11, he actually lied. He would be there at 10:45, so that you didn't have to wait. And there was never any uncertainty when Big Daddy was involved. He gave you that safe feeling all the time. He was as reliable as a Rolls Royce. And you never had to worry because he planned for all those eventualities that you didn't even think of. And that's not to say he was serious all the time and didn't know how to have fun. Like Suri said, he loved playing a game of funny and cracking a few jokes or breaking out into song as he knew he was about to win the game. And Suresh and I managed to get him out of his suit once, get his shorts on, and make him jump in the ocean. So that was always, that's a memory I'll always cherish. And he was always willing to try new things, even if it took him out of his comfort zone. Even the smartphone that he was using that Suresh got him was just another thing that he was willing and able to master. And together with Big Mummy, they mastered so much. It's heartbreaking that we lost them both so quickly, but maybe it's good that they didn't have to be apart for too long. Maybe being together allowed them to thrive and be the best that they could be. And maybe it's better that they are back together. Big Mummy and Big Daddy tried to teach us all their virtual traits by action. This is how we live, and we're showing you and that they live the way they wanted us to. And I don't really have the words to describe their approach to life. And unfortunately, in a situation like this, it would be Big Daddy who would, give us the advice we need with one of his fantastic turns of phrase. So I'll have to borrow the words of Rudyard Kipling, and I've chosen this because I think these words sound like they came from Big Daddy's mouth. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about and not dealing in lies, or being hated and not giving way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise, if you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make your thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and bow them with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the world which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And what's more, you'll be a man, my son. So today, wherever we are, let's pay tribute to a man, a woman, and a couple who really led by example and who influenced us in so many positive ways. You will both be forever loved and missed.
Page 63. Bhajo Ram 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 Hare Bhajo
Sisters and brothers, we have come to the part of the program which I was dreading the most. However, when I think about my grandfather, it gives me strength, and I just see my name on the program as someone who needs to say something. And I said this to Anna Mama, that you could give me the entire 3.5 hours or however long we have this hall for, and I could speak about my grandfather. But I will try and keep it short, and in honor of him, I'll come up to the podium with a blank page, because everyone knows him as a master orator. He could, as Triven said, at the click of a finger, stand up and give a talk, a speech, a lecture, as if he prepared something and he was reading, and you would think this man probably spent 1 month preparing that speech, and it wasn't just limited to birthdays, funerals, weddings. I'm talking even sitting on the table, and it may have been a special occasion. He could just, at the click of a finger, start speaking, and you would think that this has been prepared. So, Big Daddy, what I want to say to you is that all the words in all the languages that have ever been spoken currently, even in the past, languages that have disappeared, there's no words to describe the void you're going to leave in my heart. It pains me to speak about you because everyone here knows you. And how do I describe you to someone who hasn't met you? Future generations. How do I even begin to describe who you and Big Mommy were? Words just don't do justice to who you are. And possibly families here will think, oh, I'm just speaking about my grandfather, but there was no one like him. There was truly no one like him. And no amount of successes in my life, no amount of experiences moving forward will ever be the same if I can't speak to you and tell you about it. It's not going to be the same. How do I tell you I've done well in something? Because I haven't done well without you. If you're not there, it doesn't really matter. And I don't know how you managed to for 85 years be that patriarch. And let me say this, you lost your parents at such a young age. You became the father. Then you lost all your siblings. Over and above that, you then lose your son. And then one step that couldn't be overcome, or one hurdle that couldn't be overcome, which in my mind is the perfect love story, is that, and I mentioned Jabakoi Bath earlier, is that once you lost Big Mommy, you said, that is it. That is the final straw. And I don't know if I was speaking to Divesh Mama or Matesh Mama about it when we heard the news of Big Mommy. And I said, you know, when we tell Big Daddy that she's just downstairs and she's now gone this May taking. And I said to both Divesh Mama and Atesh Mama, I said, well then let the man rest. He has done more than enough. And in fact it's the selfish parts of us that maybe wanted to keep him around. When I saw him in hospital, and even whilst being fed, you could see the pain in his face. You could see him struggling on that bed. And when I think about it deep down, many people said to me yesterday I was taking things badly. But when I saw Big Daddy this morning, I just said, Big Daddy, you've given us enough. And I said this before, all the worlds, every single atom in the universe can't describe or can't fill that void that you went to leave in my heart. And I know I'm speaking on behalf of everyone, but when I rank people in my life as to who and we shouldn't do this, but who do you love as number one and number two, Big Mommy and Big Daddy, I loved you two more than anyone. And it was a selfless love because both of you didn't expect anything from me, and I didn't expect anything from you, but when we looked at each other, you just knew there was the love. There was the love. No matter what happens, we'd be there for each other. So, when you ask me to speak about my grandfather, I can go on with stories, anecdotes. Pranam mentioned we got him into his swimming costume, and Pranam won't mention the part of the story where he was very angry with me because I may have had too much of alcohol on that day, and Pranam yelled at me for being late for supper. And Big Daddy said to Pranam, try and imitate him. He said, leave that boy alone. He said, just leave that boy alone. He's come to Mauritius, and what do you want him to sit in the room with us here? And just a moment like that encapsulated Big Daddy, in that Pranam mentioned this, Trivien mentioned this, he kept his head no matter what. And here I came in, drunk grandson, but what he said was diffused the situation completely. And in the morning, he said to me, oh, you want some coffee? You want some water? Your head must be sore. And I said, oh, Big Daddy, you definitely have the experience because water and coffee definitely would help. So now I'm still angry in the corner, but that is just the type of person my grandfather was. And pictured this day a few times over the last few years, because we are human and we do think about moments like this. And Aditi said this to me in private, saying, look, now that it has happened, how do we move forward? How do we go on as a family? Pranam said that now Big Daddy would give us the words to be strong, and you would leave here feeling better. And Big Daddy, before Big Mommy's funeral, gave me those words, and he said, be my voice, go and speak on my behalf. And today, Big Daddy, when everything was falling apart for me last night, when we saw you this morning, I just saw your face, and I saw your skin. 85 years old and your skin looks like that. You know, I felt completely at peace when I saw you this morning. I just felt at peace, and I said, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. And I said this at Big Mommy's funeral, but I often question the existence of a higher power. And you may agree or disagree with me, but my higher power is you and Big Mommy being the voices in my head, because you were God to me. And everything both of you did would be what I would want to emulate moving forward. And in any situation, all I'll say to myself is, just remember who your grandparents are. Just remember who your grandfather is. How would he deal with this situation? And I know everything will be fine, because you and Big Mommy both live within me. No matter what happens, you both live within me. Sisters and brothers, I don't want to take up more of your time, but last night, when I couldn't sleep, I decided to just go through my phone. And often I would sit, and Trivane, Aditi, we've done this, often we would sit with Big Daddy and record him speaking. And I just needed to hear his voice last night. I played a song where he was singing, and I just felt much better hearing his voice. And I want to give some context to this voice recording, and I just hope that it's audible. It was on the 25th of July 2022, so last year, and I'll provide a little bit of context, is that he was just out of hospital for about 2 weeks. He suffered a minor stroke, TIA, I believe that's what it's called, and it was his birthday. And Anu Mama, as he always does, lovingly arranged a little birthday at the ashram for Big Daddy. There was the Swami there, and I happened to be with Anu Mama, and even though I wasn't very keen to go to the ashram, I said, no, Big Daddy and Big Mommy was there as well. I said, let's go to the ashram. And there was a little birthday for Big Daddy at the ashram with the Swami. Everyone had spoken, including the Swami, Uncle Vijaynath had spoken. And then the Swami asked Big Daddy, Mr. Poonmassy, do you have anything to say? And for whatever reason, I just took out my phone and I recorded it. And given that context, if it is audible, I haven't tested it, I would like to end my little sermon with what Big Daddy had said. And think about it, this is less than a year ago on his birthday. And I hope it can play. I'm just going to ask you to connect my phone.
He was true. And through him, I learned one thing.
Have faith, and whatever you do, take it in the name of the Master, and do it with perfection. Sisters and brothers, I'm grateful and I'm thankful to the whole trio that I came under the guidance of Swami Sharda Prabhupada. What a great person he is, and still is. And I can't say more than that, but I want to thank every one of you in this present. Thank you for making this day a special and a favorable one for me. God bless you all. Keep well. Hari Om Tat.
Sisters and brothers, on that, I leave you for our last bhajan, followed by the mantras. I believe that there's a change in the program and we will go straight to the mantras and puja by Pandit Mahim Maharaj.
Respected elders, dear devotees, please join me in prayer. Om Stapakaya Dharamasya Sarvadharmasarupini Avtara Varishtaya Ramakrishnaya Te Namah Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadguru Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Murmu Namah Shri Atirajaya Vivekananda Sudaya Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swami Taparini Swami Taparini Tvamadi Deva Purusha Purana Tvamasya Vishwasya Param Nidhanam Vedasi Vedyam Cha Param Cha Dhama Tvaya Tattam Vishwam Anantarupa. Thou art the primal God, the ancient being. Thou art the final resting place of this universe. Thou art the knower, the knowledge, and the supreme abode. By thee is the universe pervaded, and thy form is infinite. Nainam chintanti shahasrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam kledayantyapana, shoshati marutaha. This, referring to the Atma of the soul, this no weapons wound, this no fire burns, this no waters wet, this no wind or cloud. Om Suryam Chakshur Gacchatu Vatamatma Dhyacha Gaccha Pratibam Chadharmana Apo Agacchayati Tatrate Itamo Shadishu Pratitishta Sharire. We pray and we say, Dear Father, may all thy components of thy body be merged into the five elements of this earth. Thine eyes be absorbed in the sun, and thy breath be absorbed into the atmosphere. May thine other parts be merged into appropriate elements, and in accordance with the meritorious deeds thou hast performed on this earthly plane, may thy spirit, may thy Atma dwell in an appropriate body. Om Samgaccha Swapitribhi Samyami Asta Purtena Parimevyo Tvaya Vadhyam Punarastami Samgajasva Tanva Suvarcha. O dear Father, again we say, by thy austerity and enlightenment, and by thy good deeds, attain the bliss in heaven and join the company of thy forebears. Be free from all sins, and once again, may thy spirit, may thy Atma, inherit enlightened body full of luster, and once again, may thou come to this world to perform dharmic actions. Om Astoma Satkamaya, Tamsoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityurma Mritam Gamaya. O Supreme Spirit, lead us from untruth to truth. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. We'll ask the immediate family to pay the special floral tributes. Those that know, please sing. Om Prabhu Tere Dware Aya Te Atma Prabhu Tere Dware Aya Te Atma Shanti Diji He Paramatma Shanti Diji He Paramatma
Krishna
Krishna